What is up, everybody? It is me, DevilNeverCry, and in today's video we're going to be going over the entire DMC London event that occurred on February the 2nd. The event itself lasted roughly 5 hours, spanning from 2 PM all the way up until 7, with it being hosted in the exact same location as the previous event that was held in October. One of the largest differences between the previous event, though, is the fact that Hideaki Itsuno himself, along with Matt Walker, attended to meet and greet the fans. Also returning was Matt Edwards, one of the community managers for Capcom UK. So before we dive into things fully, I'd just like to say a big thank you to all of those names I mentioned, along with the location itself, the Loading Bar server, for hosting such a fantastic event. Moving on though, let's take a look at the itinerary for the event. As you can see, it kicked off at 2 PM, followed shortly by the first signing session, which lasted about an hour. Following this, we had the speedrun challenge, which I've already covered on the channel, so take a look at that if you want to. After the speedrun challenge, we had the second signing session for those who missed out on the first, followed shortly by the cosplay competition, which rounded out the event. So I want to say that I arrived at the event at about 1:50, 10 minutes before it officially started, and boy was there a large queue at the door. It seems I wasn't the only one who had the idea of coming in early. Nevertheless though, I decided to bide my time by talking with some fellow DMC fans who just so happened to recognize me as I was in the queue. The doors to the event opened shortly after and we were shepherded in, bringing us to the first signing session. The first 250 attendees got a DMC5 poster that was signed by both Itsuno and Matt Walker. Along with this, each attendee was allowed to bring one piece of merchandise that they wanted Itsuno himself to sign. I managed to get my limited edition of DMC4 signed, whilst my girlfriend managed to get her copy of DMC3 Special Edition signed. Considering I've never gotten any kind of memorabilia signed, that was a pretty cool experience. After getting your merchandise signed, you had the option to go and kick back and relax with a drink at the bar, or head directly over to one of the 8 stations where they had the DMC5 Nero TGS demo. I instead decided to use my time to get talking to some fellow DMC fans, including some familiar faces and some new ones entirely. So I'd like to give a shout out to the following people in no particular order. You have Captain Cortez, aka Nick, the editor from We Know Gamers, Nerd Armory, the dude who 3D printed all the sick, stylish weapons for the charity livestream. You have the couple that run the DMC5 Info Twitter account, Dr. Shy Guy and Platinum Paragon, Black Belt Gaming himself, Pixie, one of the cosplayers that was at the event, Heroic Virgil, aka Shane, Mario Taz, aka Bumblebee Cody, Alex Shadank, sorry for butchering your name there, Darkos Strife, of course, met him at the last event, and Alfie. There were a few more people who introduced themselves to me and said they were fans of the channel, but unfortunately I didn't manage to catch their names. But shout out to you, you guys know who you are. One thing that I found rather strange at first was being publicly recognized. A surprising amount of people knew who I was and immediately just called me out like, hey, aren't you DevilNeverCry? Which was endearing, I guess, considering everybody had nice things to say about the channel. But I digress. Getting back on track here, after these signings, Matt and Itsuno moved on to doing pictures with the fans. Of course, I managed to get one with both the legends themselves, as did many other people. I even managed to get one with Matt, for Katana's sake, considering she couldn't make it, so shout out to her. After that, we move on to the speedrun challenge, which I won't include in this video for brevity's sake. There is its own separate video, which of course I'll link in the description for those who want to see it. And of course, before the cosplay competition kicked off into full swing, Nero's facial capture actor Carlo Baker made an appearance. He of course meted and greeted the fans, as well as went on to play the Nero demo. And then of course we had the Smokin' Sick Stylish cosplay competition, which was rather cool.
Do they get the people which board they get? Oh, okay. Alright, rolling. My favorite was Lady. You got anything you want to say? bad we didn't have ladies model here. A girl named Amber, she's really cool. She's really nice. Alright. Alright, next up, Nico. You got anything you want to say?
Just gotta say, cash first.
Cash first. The final one. We had a couple awesome runners today, but there's one Virgil. That stood heads above the rest. There we go. Well, we had two choices. Look at that. So do you have so many Jonathan? You see that? In the meantime, we have a couple Trishes as a booby as a like runner-up prize. Is there any way you could give away one of those Trishes to like say Trish? Or is that how it works, or do you need to keep those for something? I'm not the one that's spent the money on those. Can you give that to Trish? There you go, Trish. Hey, Trish. Personally, I think I would pick Trish. Oh, Dante, all right, nice. All right. You got anything you want to say, man? I need more power. You can whip Dante. That's a lot of power there you got in your hands, man. All right, there you go. But anybody that didn't get picked, you guys still get something. There you go. There you go. Good job, man. Good job. Good job.
All the winners also get a free copy of the game on launch. So if you come speak to me.
And well, as you saw, pretty much everybody who participated in the cosplay competition won an award, which I think was rather cool, having a competition that was rather inclusive and everybody who dressed up was rewarded for their efforts. Now that we've talked about the event overall, let's discuss some of the questions that were asked. Before we get into the questions overall, I would just like to make a note that the atmosphere wasn't really conducive to questions in general. The structure of the event was rather loose, and you sort of had to catch Itsuno or Matt whenever they were free, provided that they could obviously hear you over all the background noise. So these questions are an amalgamation of my own, some from the general public, and some from Black Belt Gaming. So the first question that I hear somebody ask, diving straight in there, is Gilver going to be in the game? And lo and behold, you get the usual PR answer of something to the effect of, we're not allowed to comment on this, or, we're not allowed to talk about this at this time, which, fair enough, that's a given considering it's a pretty big question. I would just like to add that they didn't answer any Virgil questions whatsoever. YouTube user and Discord member Spada wanted me to ask if Kyrie's necklace had anything to do with the one that Nero was wearing, and of course, I get the answer, there is no direct correlation. Now of course that answer can be taken, one of two ways. Either there is no correlation for sure, or maybe there's some sort of vague, indirect correlation between the two, but that's the answer that I got. Moving on to something that I heard Black Belt Gaming himself ask, which is, will Subhuman get its own music video? To which Matt answered, no, you won't be getting a Subhuman music video. You won't be able to hear the music in its entirety before the game's release. However, you will be able to hear the music obviously in-game, and it will be part of the OST, the original soundtrack. Somebody then asked in a follow-up question, will the soundtracks included in the deluxe edition from the previous games be dynamic? To which we got the answer, no, they will not be dynamic. They'll work how they did in the older games, where they'll just fade in and then fade out when combat is finished. Which is a little bit disappointing. I'd have hoped they'd be dynamic like the rest of the tracks in the game, but I understand there'd be a lot of time and resources needed to sort of remix those tracks, which I guess they put towards something else. One thing that I do want to briefly discuss is this picture of Itsuno with this on his phone. No idea what it means. Matt was away getting a beer or something at this time, so Itsuno was doing his best to communicate with us, which I thought was pretty cool considering English isn't even his first language. No idea what this means, maybe sort of hinting that V isn't who he seems, but what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments below. And unfortunately, that's all that I can confirm was answered. Of course, there's some other questions out there floating around the internet. However, considering I wasn't there to hear them be answered, I'm not 100% comfortable covering them and saying that they were 100% confirmed. I did want to ask more questions, of course, but I didn't want to be that guy who was hounding and hassling the developers at this event. It was a chill environment, everybody was relaxing, having a drink, discussing other things, playing the game and whatnot, and I just didn't feel right being that invasive, I guess. Overall, I would say that the event was a major success. We got to play an updated build of the game, we got to get things signed, we got to meet the actual developers, and of course we got to hang out and discuss things with our fellow DMC fans. So, to close things out, I'd like to give a major thanks to Hideaki Itsuno, Matt Walker, and of course Matt Edwards. All three of them were really cool, humble hosts. They made sure things ran smoothly, they weren't rude to anybody, they tried to be inclusive, talk to everyone, and overall it's because of them that this event was as great as it was. Of course, let's not forget the venue. Shout out to the Loading Bar server for hosting the event, for hosting that many people in one building. It was pretty crazy. And of course, big thanks to all who attended. DMC was out in full force that day, and of course there was no drama or anything. I think everybody was just in a good mood considering DMC 5 is literally just around the corner. With that all said and done, it has been me, DevilNeverCry. I would like to thank you for watching, and as always, I'll see you next video.